I will call the October 7th meeting of the Irmo Town Council to order, and I will recognize Mayor Pro Tem Hoops to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation.
Please join with me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join with me in prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening asking your blessing upon our meetings. We ask you to guide us and the decisions that we make, that they will be in the best interest of the town of Irmo. Lord, we also ask a special blessing for our men and women in uniform that are in foreign lands, protecting our right to gather as we are here this evening. Please protect them, bring them home to their families. We ask all of these blessings in your Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Next item on the agenda is the reading of the minutes from September 16th. Is there a motion for approval as written?
So moved.
And second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor then of the minutes approved as written, do so with show of hand. And the next item is administrative briefing. Mr. Brown, do you have anything you want to add?
Yes, sir. Just a reminder, October 23rd, the Chamber's going to start their concert series at the park. It's from 6 to 8. Tiffany got it all lined up, but she wouldn't tell me who the performers are going to be, so we'll just have to wait and see.
I think I saw
it on
an
there.
email that's called Commandos,
Oh, haven't seen that one yet. Okay.
something like that.
I didn't see that one, but
Does that sound familiar? The Commandos or something like that?
Not ringing any bells, but okay. That's
it was
different.
like one name, one word name.
Yeah, they sent out a little email today.
Yeah, it was about halfway down,
Okay.
that email.
Good. We have 2 orchestra positions on the committee that are expiring in January, so we will have the nominations on November 4th council meeting. So if you know anyone that's interested in possibly being on the orchestra commission, that would be the time to present them. November 15th is going to be a big recycle day. Jack Buck and Keep Midlands Beautiful has got it all lined up. Is that correct? Yeah. Crossroads, like we always do. And we're going a little more this time with metal, tire, rubber, along with TVs and things like that. Okay.
Going Commandos.
Are we going to have a meeting on election day?
Cool. Sir, I'm sorry?
Are we going to meet on election day?
Yes, we are.
We are?
Well, unless you cancel it, but I mean,
We always cancel it any other time. Why are you canceling that?
We do if we have an election, but we don't have one.
right. That's why we didn't.
Yeah.
We cancel meetings all the time. What are you talking about?
That's all I have to say.
Any questions, Mr. Brown?
Mr. Brown, what's up with pages?
We'll have to talk to the Apple people out in Oregon. They've been working on it now for 3 days. They haven't got it fixed. But Mr. Younger says he got through to the iCloud on his pages, and he's the only one. So I'm going to try to figure out what
I got
he
an
did.
email about my iCloud password number is such and such, and what does that mean?
I haven't seen that one. I don't know. I'd have to see it.
Oh. Is that how?
None of ours is working. Mine isn't. Mayor,
Mine's
Jim's. Ever since we updated the iOS 8.02.
Well, now you gave us this new technology called iPad. Now we can't use it. So now I'm hooked on it. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I mean, how do we communicate with each other?
He'll have
Still email.
Still got telephone. Yeah.
I mean, we still email, we just can't get this stuff.
Right. It's just the pages that's not working right now, but everything else is.
Yeah, the email
Internet
work.
for emails.
And I tried to get onto the website to look at the video from the last meeting,
Okay.
and I can't pull that up either.
Well, that we can probably fix because we've had issues before, didn't we, with yours?
I thought we fixed it because I was able to get on.
I'll have a look at it.
Did you want to see the last meeting? Oh, you weren't here. Okay, got it.
Is that all right?
I didn't know anybody watched it.
We have people watching it.
We do? Really?
I have friends that tell me they get,
For what?
it's like a TV show to them. They love it. I'm talking, we're going to try to figure out a way, I'm going to get royalties off of it, so.
Popcorn.
Sell
Oh,
some
okay.
popcorn there and watch
Yeah.
watch the council meeting.
All right.
Any other questions for Mr. Brown on the brief? Being none, next item is receipt of communication, and we have on here summary of the Oak Strut from the Oak Strut Commission. So I guess that, yeah.
Happy to meet you.
Yeah.
Well, last night we had a great time, and if you were there, I suppose you probably had a good time too. You got any questions? No, I'm kidding. I want to thank you all for building such a wonderful park, and allowing us to hold our 41st annual Poker Strut there this year. We felt it was one of the easiest transitions we've ever made as far as going from one venue to another. Everything seemed to work real good. We want to thank the Public Works, Wick Klein and his crew, and of course the chief and his officers for keeping the public safe during the event, 2 days. The trolley system seemed to work exceptionally well for us, along with the satellite parking. So, as far as the overall look, I think it was a success. Remains to be seen dollars and cents. Of course, we go through that every year, but it was a great turnout. Weather was fantastic.
Do we have any logistic problems?
I don't believe we had inside the park itself, or you have, or just, I don't think we had any real logistics. Nothing that sticks out. I know we had some complaints about handicap parking, which, parking is the issue anyway. So I think we resolved most of that best we could. Yeah, we have some ideas for next year. So.
Yeah, we got a lot of good ideas for next year. Had a few people that made some suggestions as far as relocating some of the porta-johns.
There's a logistical problem.
I heard that too.
There was big questions as to why we had so many down close to where you came in Friday night.
I also heard they weren't lighted.
Well, we tried to put them around the street lamps so that they did give some light inside.
If that's the only criticism
But
we
it was
get.
kind of touchy-feely anyway, how it goes. But then on Saturday, they realized why all of those were down there because of the arts and crafts, and they were well used at that point. But we're looking at that. And a few other little things. We had lots of good comments from the vendors about them being able to come in a day early and set up, and so it wasn't a madhouse. And I think that helped with the commission. I know I was out there at the same time the commission was trying to place them, and to not have to do every one of them on Friday morning was a big benefit.
Yeah, I mean, there were some, there's always a few things you got to
Some
look at
hiccups.
whenever you do a new venue. And of course, this is no different, but I mean, overall, really, it was very smooth transition. The entertainment was great. The vendors, we had lots more vendors this year than we had in the past. So I think overall we did a good job. Or y'all did a good job.
We're going to miss Bob Janeski.
Yes, we are. But he's not going far. He said he will help out any chance he can. So,
Good.
he just likes the world travel.
I know.
Any question?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is presentation by citizens for items that are on our agenda tonight. This is where anyone who wants to speak to council about anything that's on the agenda, now would be the time you can do so. All we ask is you come to the podium and give us your name and address for the record. Anyone?
Good evening. Andy Marino, 142 Southern Road, Old Forest Gate. And I'm glad that we had a great Irmo orchestra. My concern is the noise abatement being on Forest Gate. The question is, does the council, do we have to apply for a noise permit to exceed the decibels, or how does that work? And you say some good ideas for next year. When the bands weren't playing, you know, the music was pre-recorded or whatever, and the noise wasn't bad in the neighborhood. But when the bands come aboard, they crank up those speakers, and it's really a serious inconvenience. And I'm just asking if you could put a limit on the speakers. I mean, was something to take into consideration the immediate neighborhood. I'm sure the park wants to be good neighbors with the residents of Old Forest Gate or Fox Run. Is there any way to resolve this?
Do you back up directly to the park?
No, fortunately, but
Across the
Sunny Road
street?
is right around the corner from those people who do back up to it. And
What's your address again?
142,
142 what?
Sonny, S-O-N-N-I-G.
Sonic.
Sonic.
Okay.
Yeah. It's right off of Doncaster. And
You can hear the music over in your neighborhood?
not only the music, you could hear the testing, the voices, you could hear the conversation. When they were before the, whatever the start time was. What time was scheduled, 5?
So we think we should put a big privacy fence up there or some kind of noise abatement fence?
Hey, if we got money, I thought we were gonna have some kind of a berm in there anyway, but there wasn't any. There isn't any.
But there's a reason for, that's why they were given a 100-foot buffer, which I understand I understand what you're saying, but that's why we didn't, because the buffer was significant. But I'm sorry.
Sound travels right through the
I
buffer,
understand.
but there's a skinny tree there, right? I mean, the other questions I had were pertaining to the sidewalk that runs from College Street on East View, I guess. What was the purpose of that sidewalk?
College
It's
Street,
kind of new.
Well, we're eventually going to go from Eastview, whatever the road that goes into Fox Run.
Battery Road.
Battery there.
And then down St.
St.
Albans, and then down
Shetford.
Shetford, and then down Chillingham, and kind of go out towards the Toyota. So there'll be a,
Oh, I thought it was for walking because it was a parking lot for the whole.
now we would tie the other side of Eastview all the way down to the park, so that people that want to, say, walk to the park can do it on the sidewalks through the road. Not just for the orchestra, but for any time of the year type thing.
And that would be my concern, since there's no walking to the park now during the orchestra because all the cars parked there. And we have another event coming up, you said, where there's going to be bands there as well in a couple of whatever.
Yeah, now theirs is from
6 to 8.
6 to 8?
6 to 8. Thursday,
Yeah.
it's a Thursday night. They'll do it the third Thursday of each month, like 6 months. I think October,
October,
and then again in March.
And then they start back over in February, March, April, May, or
Right.
something like that.
But
But theirs
the
are,
problem, if that's happened before, if we had these kind of concerts before, the noise to me on Sonny Road wasn't an issue. So if it wasn't an issue for that particular concert, why would it be an issue for Irmo's orchestra? If you could just tone it down a bit. I mean, what is the value of layering speakers?
You know those, I'm from Connecticut, you know we got those big walls that they have on the
Along
interstate?
the highway?
Yeah, those, I don't know what they're called,
Noise
the
abatement.
Jersey walls or something like that.
Expensive.
Well, I mean, but you know what I'm talking about? Those
Yeah.
big walls they have, and it's designed to keep the sound from traveling on the other side of the interstate. And that's when they build those.
They have them on
I saw
285.
those, yeah, they saw them on 285. They got them up on 285.
Put them up along 20 now, too.
Yeah, what do you think about a wall like that to come to kind of like to isolate that sound from that going over that fence? What do you think about that?
It's expensive.
Well, I mean, it's expensive, but I mean, you're a constituent, and I want to make sure
It'll
that you
go
live
over
in
the top
peaceful enjoyment. But I mean, at least we can put that up to abate the sound from coming directly through the trees. I mean,
It's gonna go over the top.
well, I mean, a berm would go over the
Okay, I
top too.
think we'd help more by lowering the decibels on the speaker.
Yeah, but you can't sit there with a sound meter and say, okay, you gotta be 16 dBs or 5 dBs. You know, when bands hit the crash cymbal, that's a spike. You put that wall up there and it won't be able to go, it'll cut significantly the amount of direct ambient sound that goes right to his backyard. And he's saying that he didn't hear some of the bands, he could hear people when they're testing speakers. Those walls across the back there, where your houses are, would be
That's noise
something.
abatement, but I don't know if you're gonna enter into a beauty concept, if you wanna look at one of those walls. I don't know about the park, so I really don't have a voice in.
Sure you do. You're a citizen of Irmo. You live on Sonic Drive. You have just as much voice as anybody
The
else.
park, the $2 million I thought was gonna be spent otherwise, but,
You were against the park?
You
said you-
went around the corner.
You were against the park in the first place.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the noise is a factor now, and I thought, again, being a good neighbor, we could all get along together. You got your park, just to chill out on the noise. Those stanchions, the noise containment things,
Yeah.
hey, put it through the neighborhood, see what they think about it, because they're the ones who are going to be affected by the beauty part of it,
Well, you're complaining about the sound, and I'm trying to appease
Yeah, I don't want to be
your.
selfish and argue about the sound, and the solution is worse than the problem. When I called up, I was told to, suck it up.
Suck it up.
I don't know, but
Somebody told you to suck it up?
yeah,
Really?
and I don't know who. But
We got people telling our constituents to suck it up? Really?
I don't believe that term was.
Oh, okay.
okay.
Well,
And-
I don't want you to suck it up. I want you to tell me what you're doing.
But it's going to be an ongoing thing. And there's a solution, I just don't know exactly what the solution is. The easy one is to just crank down the decibels.
That certainly is a solution, to crank down decibels, but you can't, every time you have a function over there, you can't have a guy with a sound meter sitting there saying, okay, you're 1 decibel over the limit. And the way to avoid that is to put a wall or some kind of abatement system where you said a berm or a Jersey wall or whatever they call those things, that will stop the sound from going directly through the trees into your backyard. That's just one solution. Certainly another solution is not to have any music over there at all. That's unrealistic.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to you as a constituent, and I believe you have a voice and you have a right to make any kind of suggestion that you want to say that you want a quiet enjoyment of your house. Let's look at building a wall or some kind of way to abate the sound from coming across here. I'm thoroughly in favor of doing whatever needs to be done so that you're not disturbed when we have orchestra or concerts in the park or 4th of July fireworks or whatever, whatever goes on there,
What I would ask is if, before you guys make a decision, if the neighborhood could get involved with this, some kind of a flyer saying, this is what we are proposing, are you for it or against it, and then listen to what the neighborhood says.
Why don't you handle that for me? Your neighbors, you know your neighbors better than I do. I just know your neighbors as being a constituent. You are a certified member of Irmo community. I'd be more than happy to work with you or anybody on here to put a wall up or to put some kind of abatement berm up or whatever you think is necessary or whatever solution we can come up with.
Wait a minute, okay.
If you want to do that.
We have this problem, I have this problem. I live on the Irmo side of Quail Valley. In front of the high school, the band practices every day. I hear them perfectly. I can even hear wrong notes. And there's a lot of walls and a lot of property in between that. I mean, several blocks.
Well, the neighborhood was here before the park was, so we should have some kind of priority there.
You should. I think there ought to be a decibel limit.
And I don't go along with 1 decibel over the limit.
No, I don't either. I think we ought to just ask them to turn it down to a reasonable level.
And your speakers can do that? I mean, you can't...
Sure you can, but I'm saying...
What's the problem? And you say everybody's eardrums from...
Because the wall's not going to help.
20 years.
Sure it will.
There's plenty of walls between me and Irma, and I hear that band every day.
I understand that, but the wall is this proven fact. Why are they building these Jersey walls on the interstate if they don't work? They're doing it for a reason, because they know that the sound will be deflected up, as opposed to going straight through the walls, the trees. I'm in favor of doing whatever we need to do to make this man's life quiet and enjoyable in his house. He's saying he doesn't want to hear the music.
So you're saying if I get the petition for how many people you'll act on our request?
Well, I'm saying that we'll look at it, we'll try to figure out a solution, you know?
Is there money in the kitty?
Hey, listen, you're a taxpayer, there's plenty of money in the kitty, right?
We don't have a say in where the money goes.
Sure you do. Sure you have a say in where the money
Just come to
goes.
the budget meetings. Honestly,
Seriously.
everybody could.
Don't feel like you don't have a say in the running of this town. You're just as much as a taxpayer as my wife, as anybody else in here. You know, you have the right to say, okay, I want you to spend money on this and not that, you know?
Okay, so the next concert that's going on, how are we going to address that?
Well, that one is
Well, that's what's
going to end, that one will end a little bit earlier. Not that it won't be as loud, but, and not that,
It shouldn't be as loud because it's not a national act.
yeah, and it's more of a, I think it was, I just forget the name, what did I say? Going Commando. I don't know who that is, but I'm guessing by the beach scene that they may be playing beach music. But it said 5:30 to 7:30, which may be 6 to 8 by the time they, so it would be over sooner, but that might be a good judge too to see. I don't know, I don't think we got a whole lot of complaints when what was that church that did the...
Columbia Church.
Yeah.
The concert.
They did the
right.
concert, but theirs was during the day too, wasn't it?
This Saturday all day,
Yeah.
afternoon.
We're willing to work with you.
Thank you. And then as far as parking is concerned, I don't live in Fox Run, but I mean, it's really, with parking both sides on that particular day, you have to have some kind of parking control, I think, Chief. I mean, it's really pretty ridiculous if you were on the roads. Yes, no, I'm not speaking in empty space here.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I'm making some notes too. Yeah, we'll need to probably get with Elkstrud and kind of, and he's here.
Do you want us
too,
to
so
put that
he'll
on
be
the
here.
agenda for the next meeting and talk about it in depth, or what? Try to come with some solutions?
If you guys can come up with solutions,
We'll put it on the next agenda, we'll talk about solutions, all
I'll be
right?
back. Thank you.
How's that?
Okay, thank you.
So, Bob, make sure we put that on the agenda for the next meeting, okay?
And what is it?
What am I putting on the
What are
agenda?
you putting on there?
We're gonna look at building
Discussion of noise
Jersey
in the
barrier,
park.
noise abatement wall.
Do discussion.
You got
Here we do.
prices?
That's
We
what
just had one. Just put on there discussion about noise at the town park. Band noise, or whatever they'll call it. And then we can discuss. You can call somebody and find out how many feet cost how many millions of dollars.
What about the other 11,000 residents?
We
They
could,
can come,
we could control the decibel. We could control the,
yeah, turn it down.
I know we could. Just say, you can't go any higher than this.
Yeah, okay, I want you to tell,
Well, you're going
I
to
want you
get
to tell
that.
Chicago that, okay? I want you
We
to
didn't
tell,
get any calls
Chicago
from the
ain't
people
here.
that live
want
If
you to
they
tell-
were,
I want
I'd
you
go
to
sit
tell-
with Mr. Marino and
I
we'd
want you
listen
to
together.
tell
You
the
gotta turn it
Doobie
really
Brothers
down.
that,
If
you know,
the
you want
Doobie
to be
Brothers
this
show
loud.
up,
I think it could
we'll
go.
sit
I
in
want you to
front.
tell Bonnie Raitt when she comes to play here.
We got Tokyo Rose or
Tokyo
somebody.
Joe.
All right, we're going to go to the next citizen that wants to
Serious, you have to,
come speak. Anyone else would like to address council
Please,
on stuff that's on
anybody.
the agenda?
They didn't need more privacy fences up.
what was his
One
name?
of the big ass wall in their
What was
backyard.
his name?
Marino,
Joe?
Dan.
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 Can I make a request to put an item on the agenda for the next meeting?
Huh?
Can I make a request to put an item on the agenda for the next meeting?
No?
Yes,
Any
go
other
ahead.
requests?
What is,
I would like to,
Well, give us your name and address.
sorry, Michelle Polcho, and address is 542 Prospect Road.
And it's Michelle,
Yes.
and what was the last name?
Paulchel.
Okay.
I'm looking for some code enforcement issues to be on the agenda, maybe to beautify the town of Irmo.
And I think we have one on here tonight, I believe. Something.
I didn't really see it. That's
Your,
Oh, trash can thing,
trash
yeah.
can, yes.
is this in
Well, I
your,
taught policing in town of Irmo, so I wasn't really sure where that was going.
are these in your neighborhood? Is, that's a,
It's over, I live in New Friars Gate, and just from starting from that gas station, just driving in, I mean,
I know what you mean,
it's just, it's horrible.
Where?
It's horrible.
driving in Floral Tower.
On the left-hand side, there's,
On the right-hand side, you've got the house with, you know, all, it looks like a burial service going on. I know you
Wait a
wouldn't
minute,
really
wait.
do,
You
you
went
know,
down wrong house.
I know there's,
Where the sign is? Where the
Past the
sign?
gas station, go straight into, on both sides. It's the entrance.
Where Friars Gate sign is?
no.
I'm talking over the track.
New Friars Gate. Oh, with the gas, okay,
Yeah.
okay. Next to
Okay,
the
we won't
daycare.
interrupt you again, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my bearings. I just.
The main road going to the school, if you're going down North Royal Tower,
Chadford.
they go right on Chadford.
Right.
You've got the family, it's rental property, most of that area now has turned into rental property, and that's why we're running into these issues. And it's really just bringing down property values, and it's just unsightly. Anyone coming to go to the school or to the park, Friars Gate Park, you know, you've got a family right now that's renting that property, the fence is falling down, and they have a gazebo on the side yard, and it looks horrible in the position that it's in. Rental property down the road from me, the garage is broken. Looks horrible. Just a lot of code enforcement issues going on that I'd like to see put on the agenda, see if we can start getting, you know, these addressed. I mean, I know you only have so many code enforcement officers, and I know it's not a glorious job, but, you know.
Have you talked to them?
I have.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because I have an elderly neighbor that, you know, his kids want to take care of the pool, the yard. I was cutting it, I can only do so much.
I understand.
So I had to get them out there to help me handle that, and the son is over there now every single night working if the summer's over. And I'm sure that's because she's being faced with a $1,000 fine or whatever. And I don't want to impose that on her, but, you know, again, code enforcement, the grass being ridiculously high. It's just not appealing. So I'd like to see that, and then, you know, I don't know about anybody else, but I mean, in that particular area, you've got a lot of kids, you know, you kind of can figure out what's going on when they're dropped off, someone circles around the block, comes back, and picks them up. We've got a lot of drug trafficking going on. And I have called in the past, I'm not going to lie, I've called, you know, about the little deals that I've seen going on in my street, my neighborhood, cars going up and down the road 100 miles an hour. It's been a few months. Back when I did call though, I was told that there was only 3 officers on the road. So that's an issue. If you on a Friday night, you only got 3 officers on the road, I think that's a problem. Especially if you've got people going 90 miles an hour in a 30-mile-an-hour residential neighborhood. So, I don't know if this,
Maybe this ought to be under your policing thing. Okay.
you know, I just want to see what we can do to clean it up and, you know, if they want, I don't know. I've called Crime Stoppers tip line before to report, you know, things that I've seen. It doesn't take long to figure it out. But you know, if you can't get in touch with the right people, then it's not going to stop. It's going to continue to get worse.
Well, we're scheduling a town hall, well, I hope to schedule a town hall meeting here coming up pretty soon. And that was one of the issues we'd like to talk about. So please be aware that we will be having a meeting just to address issues like that. And I would love for you to come back and be able to share with us your experiences, and we'll tell you what we can do and what your responses are going to be when you do call police or call
I've been there
county.
19 years, so I've seen a lot.
That's fine.
You know, just want to clean it up and make it nicer for everyone, even if it's 50% rental property, it doesn't mean that, you know, it shouldn't.
Well, that's true. That's true.
We got that ordinance though, that rental property ordinance, right?
Yeah, I was looking at it over, I mean, it's kind of vague. I mean, there are some, I don't know if we need tougher rental ordinance put in place, but, I mean, I'm just saying, for example, to me, hypothetically here, if code enforcement was over next door, taking care of the issue that I had with my neighbor, how come, you know, is it because they don't know that it's rental property, or what the issue is that they didn't notice that garage door was broke? I mean, do our code enforcement officers know? Do they have a list of rental property? I mean, how are they going to enforce it if they don't know which homes are rental property?
Well, we know what houses are, we're supposed to know what houses are rental property and not. You know, if somebody's at one house with a broken door or talking to one resident about their property, and the next door neighbor has a violation or something that needs to be fixed, if the police officer didn't go over to that house, I don't know why that didn't happen, but
Yeah, I mean, it's 3 doors down.
yeah, certainly him driving up and down the street, you should see that, you know.
But then again, I don't want to blame it on code enforcement if they don't have a list of what rental, you know, the rental property in our area. Because I mean, I'm sure it's ever changing.
We can find out who the owner is, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I just want to see if we can put that on the agenda and I'll be back at that. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else who would like to address council on anything that's on the agenda tonight? Seeing none. Next item is unfinished business. Third and final reading of ordinance 1410 to annex Lexington tax map 2797-01-019, which is 107 Harbin Court. Is there a motion for third reading, third and final reading?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? We've kind of already discussed this, and basically just annexing a piece of property so the owner can adjoin it to everything else he owns so that he can develop the entire property.
And the engineer went and talked to the people in Quail Valley that back up to this, which I really appreciated, and made peace with them. So that was very nice.
And I think we had some concerns by somebody about the dirt.
Well, that's what she's referring to, once it gets...
No, this was the buffer. They're going to back up.
They're putting the big buffer in, they said. They were
Yeah,
gonna- Right.
Now, I don't know about the dirt.
But the
They've
dirt's
already
gonna-
put up silt fencing.
Well, it collapsed.
once they develop it, and there'll be grass, flowers, and everything else.
But I mean, that guy that was in here with that paperwork on that, they're going to...
They put the fence back up.
Oh, okay. Did he get the mud out of the road so it wouldn't wash back down again?
I don't think they cleaned the road out, but they put the fence back up, and it should be...
Yeah, we're praying for
contained now.
rain.
Yes.
Get the mud out the street.
Any more discussion?
That's how you do it.
All in favor then of third and final reading, do so with show of hands. And next item is new business. First reading of ordinance 1412 to amend the Irmo Town Code, Chapter 26. Well, this has to do with the trash cans, I think. Is there approval? Is there a motion for?
So moved.
Yeah. Thank you.
Second.
Second? Okay.
Okay, what are we doing here? Are we just saying it's got to be moved?
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have some problems with the times too. Yeah,
With the,
granted, right now, we know that garbage pickup in the town of Irmo is on Wednesdays. If it were on Tuesday night, every one of us would be in violation at this point,
Right.
and everyone here, unless you made it home first and moved your trash can. And we know that the dates can change for pickup. It has done it over the years. Wednesdays is church night. A lot of people wouldn't get home from church till well after that 7:30 time. I understand the problem, and I think what the mayor is attempting to do is clear up a couple things. One, I think it's vague as to how far off the curb that
Yeah.
thing needs to be.
Right now,
I
it says
thought it
remove
was
it.
all the way back to the house, but again, I'm wrong. So I think that's important, but I think the 7:30 issue is going to be a snafu
It's
because
Wednesday night.
Wednesday night's church night, and a lot of people, the churches serve a meal on Wednesday to keep you from having to go home and come for that service, and so we don't want to have people calling us at 7:35. The police department, the garbage can next door is, still in the street, and that's another issue, in my opinion, in the street. I know I place mine behind the curb on the grass, and when I come back, it's in the street.
It's in the street.
That's because the machine picks it up
Yeah.
and
The
dumps it.
machine picks it up.
No, I've seen people doing it. Last week, in fact,
I got
the
a
machine
machine
didn't pick it up.
doing it.
Yeah, machine's doing mine too, but, I think it does need to be moved. I just think the 7:30,
What's it say
is
now?
an
Is
issue.
that in there now?
No later, it has to be removed no later than 7:30 p.m.
That's what's currently in the ordinance.
Yeah, all we did was
The
add
only one that's changed are what's in the dark sheet.
Yeah.
that's
Which is where you move it to.
So 7 a.m.
Yeah,
to
because right now,
7:30.
basically,
It's always been in the ordinance, the time.
So if you want to amend that in addition to the other.
Yeah.
and where this came from is a neighbor calling about one of the other neighbors, and they were picking it up from the road, but they were leaving it in the middle of the yard. They were putting it beside or wherever, and I thought, well, let's just say they got to put it beside their house.
Well, I mean, when they put it beside the house, is that wrong?
No,
But they weren't.
they weren't.
And ours don't say you have to, it just says you got to get it off the road.
But I would ask,
We can probably look at that.
before we make a definitive decision, is just to ride around and look at the number of people that do remove it from the curb, move it all the way up to the house and put it in front of the garage door. It's not out of sight.
Right.
And I think you'll have a problem with, and because when these people brought it to my attention, I asked Bob about it, and I started looking at everybody. And there's really you can't put it out of sight almost. Now, some people can, but a lot of people can't. If you live
Right.
on the corner, in different other locations too, so I thought, well, at least if they put it beside their home, that'll get it out of the front yard, because some people put it on their front porch. They literally, right over there behind Parlock, a couple of years ago, they were just putting it on the front porch, and they were telling, I guess John Henson, it might have been many years ago, it's off the road, forget it.
Yeah.
And as far as that 7 a.m., I think that was what was already in there, but we may need to, since we do one day a week instead of multiple days a week.
Yeah, that one could be an issue because we tell the garbage service that they can be in town and operating at 7 a.m.
Right, they're here sometimes
So
6:30.
I've got to put it out at 6:15 if I'm heading into town to be at work for 7 o'clock shift.
You can't put it out the night before?
Yeah.
Well, you can, because it says no later than 7 a.m.
Okay, so,
A lot of people do put it out the night.
Yeah, in fact, I think a lot of
So-
them night.
What do you think the time ought to be?
7 a.m. the following day should be fine.
I think 7
I would
a.m.
think
following
so.
day also, yeah.
7 a.m. the following day?
Yeah.
To have it removed.
To have it removed.
I mean, come on, guys. You guys got neighbors, and I'm guilty of this. My neighbor takes my garbage can and brings it back to my garage.
My neighbor does too.
Maybe because I'm a nice
Obviously need
neighbor.
Better neighbors.
I mean, it's nothing, that's a neighborly thing to do. If it bothers you, take the damn thing and pull it in front of the garage door. That's what my neighbor does for me. They know that when I leave the house at 8 o'clock, I'm not going to be back until 8 o'clock that night. And if it bothers them, they just pull it back to the garage, and we take it inside. But that's not a code violation. If something we have to enforce, is it?
You need to ride through a subdivision. Just ride through it.
Yeah.
I understand, but are we
once you
talking
do
to
it-
neighbors and saying, hey, neighbor,
Once this happened 2 or 3 times, the fine is $1,028.
Yeah.
$1,028? Yeah.
for not pulling your garbage can back?
Yes.
Come on,
Yeah, all
neighbor.
of them are. It doesn't matter which one, they're just
That's
all
just a
$1,000.
magistrate fine. I mean, that's what our,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all the same.
This is,
But come on, guys, is this a town or is this a,
Well, I think it comes back with priorities again. Do we want our code enforcement people worried about the distance that a garbage can is moved off the curb, or do we want them attacking that 2-foot tall grass?
both.
You know?
Both.
And,
And according to that lady who was just here, I think there was a couple of things too.
yeah, there's several issues that become more and more important.
I don't know, call me naive, but I think if we have a working relationship with your next door neighbor, that you have to
not everybody
coexist
does,
with
Barry.
Yeah.
to pull your garbage can, if it bothers them, to pull the garbage can
Well,
back.
that's what them people were doing, but they were sticking it in the front yard, and then they were telling code enforcement,
Well, I know there's several things that
Leave
we've
it in
talked
front
about
yard.
here. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make an amendment
what,
that the containers be placed by the curb no later than 7 a.m. on the day of collection and be removed from the curbside no later than 7 a.m. the following day.
right. And I want to add one thing to that too while we're making amendments, so we can maybe just.
That's what I think, we need to make all the amendments at one
Yeah,
time,
make them.
rather than beating this thing every 2 weeks.
That last sentence, the exemption part, and why I wanted to put that on there, because there's going to be somebody, and I can think of a few people, that Mr. Galloway, for instance, where his
Yeah,
driveway is,
yeah.
and then right beside his driveway, he has a fence. And the fence runs down right to the corner of his house, and he's on the corner. And right where his gate is there's no way to put his within 3 feet of the house without being in front of the gate, so to speak, or something.
Yeah, that
And there's going to be some people like that, so that way they could come in to, say, Bob, and say, hey, I got this problem, and we can give them a... But instead of it saying it the way it is, I wanted to change it a little bit to, it can be permitted in writing by the town administrator,
can be permitted.
in writing by the town. And that way they can get something in writing that they have in their hand that they can tell whoever, I can put this here and not be in trouble or something.
Okay, now I have another thing to ask about. How are we going to let everybody know about all this? I know we
Well,
can put it on the website.
that would be a part of being, I guess, grace, when you go out
And see it and just tell them we've got a new ordinance
yeah,
and you need to
when
move
that
it.
person
They
says, I'll stick
typically
it in
carry
my
a
front
copy of
yard.
the ordinance with them.
Right.
Yeah, where it's been changed, kind of like we do everything else.
Because
Then they
not
put it on
everybody
there.
has a computer or looks at the...
Right.
So this could
Nobody
be...
watches a movie on TV?
Some of these people actually probably know these ordinances better than us, because they can pretty much tell code enforcement when.
Well, I want it to be published and all that, but I just want to make sure people know.
Well, again, I think if we was nice neighbors and you talk to your neighbor and say, hey, man, I'm sorry, I'm coming home late tonight, I got church tonight, can you pull that garbage can back for me if it's a problem with you? And now I'll get it back in my house by 7 a.m. the next day. I mean,
Yeah, well,
Some people don't even know their neighbors there.
and some of them don't get along.
surely that's not the case in Irmo. We love each other in Irmo.
And do stuff for spite, which is kind of,
Make sure that's at
part
the
of
minutes,
this.
Kim, would you?
The what?
That we all love each other in Irmo.
I would like to also,
Together as a big community.
I don't believe that 3 feet should be part of it. I mean, just, let's get,
Well, I think the only reason we said that was so there was some kind of limit that they couldn't put it to the side of the house and it'd be not really to the side of the house because it was 20 foot away or whatever. But they can also, depending on like the guy I'm thinking of, if they, for whatever reason, cause their gate, 3 feet is small, then they can come in and get a, they can explain it to Bob, hey, here's my problem, and Bob can say, fine.
so
You're
out of
the one-
sight, do what?
You got a long driveway at your house, don't you?
I do, yes.
So I'm not going to pull your garbage can way up to your house from your driveway. So if I pull it halfway up your driveway,
It is not
Hide it in
an
the woods,
issue.
you can't
We
see it from the road.
okay, so that'll be okay then, right?
take care of each other. It's not an issue.
I mean, you got a country mile to get to your house before you get to, can't, 3 feet, I mean, come on now.
You
That's-
probably let those poor elderly ladies bring your garbage can back to your house.
Well, I do have relatives that they do not have the garbage can within 3 feet.
Yeah, and they could come and get,
They're outside.
They're
They are
outside.
outside. That's why
They
3
would-
feet does not
That's
need
the
to be
same
there.
thing?
Not for just for them, but for police.
I'm just trying to think of what would keep us from having to come back to this issue again if somebody's sticking it on the side of the yard, but
Just have it out of sight.
yeah, but you can't do that on all, because a lot of people got corner lots, and even on the road that I live on, if I ride down that road, everybody puts theirs to one side of the house, but they're really not out of sight. So I don't think you could say out of sight, because then anybody has to either put them in the garage or the backyard. And that, to me, is going to be a hassle for a lot of people.
Yeah, you know, I'm just thinking about several houses that you look at, that on the side of the house, they've got shrubbery. All right, shrubbery is 2 to 3 feet, and probably more like 3 to 4 feet off the side of the house. Most of the house setbacks are 10 feet. Then you're gonna put a garbage can beside the shrubbery, now you're within the 3 foot off the property line issue. So, you know, it's almost, you'd have to move it to the backyard or something.
And that's probably in.
I hide mine with an azalea, but,
And we have bushes, we got a, I say a notch cut in, but we got a space cut in.
right.
Now, some of the other neighbors don't, but they at least put them up next to their,
But then we got that nice big recycle one, now there's nowhere for it to go. Yeah.
I actually would like to ask our town attorney for the right language for this ordinance. What do you think?
I haven't seen the proposed language, but if you will allow us to take a look at it, I think this is really decent recommendation at the time of the next meeting. I would suggest that we give it first reading, that y'all give it first
yeah, we got to
reading tonight.
do 3,
and
right?
Let me take a
Three
look at the
readings, yeah.
language.
That
If
sounds
Bob will just email me a copy of the proposed ordinance, we'll take a look at it and get it back to you by the next meeting.
So we can move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we want to amend it to these things, or?
It doesn't make any difference. We can take it just on face value for the first reading and then
Okay.
send him the amendments that we wanted to put in it anyway,
Okay.
have him
You got it.
filter it in. So I withdraw
I've
my
got it.
amendments.
Okay. So we're going to vote on it just like it is without
Yeah,
us.
first reading.
Right, and then we'll depend on Jake to do the amendments.
Any more discussion or questions?
Mayor, can I just have a quick word?
Yes.
I don't know if you need me to say anything, who I am and all that. Yeah. I would respectfully request to have a look at this before it goes much further as well. I'll gladly supply all of you with the statistics involved in these Herbie Kirby's. When we put what we put in them, quite often, it hasn't happened a lot around here, thank goodness, yet. But quite often what we develop inside these things is what we call a spontaneous combustion. They become like a compost heap. If they're required to be within 3 feet of a structure, especially when you're talking about a residential structure with vinyl siding, when a Herbie Kirby catches on fire from spontaneous combustion or anything else, it's like pouring gasoline onto the vinyl siding, and then you have an unbelievably disastrous residential structure fire. So if I could have a look at that before it goes much further as well, I'd
You have
appreciate it
his-
very much. Just to give you input from a,
Email it.
What about the 90% of the people that put them in their garages?
oh, a bad thing to do. Yeah. Bad.
Are we going to say you can't put it in your garage because of fire hazard?
Well, it's just, if you're going to require it within 3 feet, what happens if they have a serious structure fire and it starts in the Herbie Kirby and they come back to town and they say, you required me to put it that close to the house?
That's true. I think we ought to let him look at it.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, that's,
I
we
didn't.
got his email and all that, I guess.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. You have his email?
I didn't know that.
Okay.
Send it to Jake first.
So,
Work it back around to
where are we
Jeff.
at? Item A. Any more discussion? All in favor then of first reading of ordinance 1412 pertaining to the trash cans is what I'm going to call it, do so with show of hand. And then we will send that to Jake, and then Jake can reword it, and then we can send it to Jeff. Next item is approval to purchase picnic shelter kit from Inwood Structures in the amount of $20,912. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And second.
Second.
Go ahead.
Any discussion?
This would be one that would duplicate the one that we have on the far end of the park right now. So we'll be back down on the, close to the last parking lot that we paved.
So when you come in to the left, behind,
Coming on Church Street.
behind the amphitheater sitting area, in that area there, is that?
Between the parking and the big bird house, the big tall
Oh, so it's
birds.
down that way?
Yes.
Now, is that in a sunny spot, or is that kind of in the edge?
Oh, we'll take the trees out. It'll be
So it'll be back in the woods, but not in the grassy area?
correct.
Right,
Yeah,
won't be in the grassy area. Be left of the walking trail.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
During the strut, that's where some porta johns are placed.
I know exactly where that is. Okay.
I thought I saw you standing around.
Any more discussion?
We can't find a sponsor for that? Has anybody looked at trying to get a sponsor for that? Has anybody looked at one?
No, go ahead, Mayor.
Hey, you know I can do it. I'd like to see us go down that route before we spend the, money for it. At least, we don't have to have 3 readings on that, but at least, give me at least a month or so to just ask.
We can always have someone come in for sponsorship on anything before it's,
Yeah.
Before
even
we
after
spend
the
the money
bill.
on- I mean, we're talking about spending the money next week, right? That's what I'm saying. If we
But
give me-
6 weeks from now, after it's up, you can have someone
Yeah, we can have somebody-
come in and
Oh,
sponsor
pay
it.
for it after the fact?
Fine. This was budgeted. We planned this.
Yeah, but it's,
Okay.
yeah.
We're spending money like drunken sailors. That's what it is.
Huh? Doing what?
Pass the rum. I'd just like to see us investigate, or at least inquire in the community if anybody would be interested in sponsoring that picnic shelter, just like we've gotten the amphitheaters sponsored and other items in the park sponsored, the children's playground. I don't know if we went down that road yet, but I mean, just a matter of just looking, see if we can find somebody.
Okay.
What are you talking about, before or after?
After.
Well, it's probably gonna have to be after, the way
Yeah,
it sounds
before.
like for y'all.
It's going up next week.
It's kind of hard to do it afterward, but at the same time,
No, because they can see what they're buying.
it was $20,000, right?
No, it's not. I don't go kick you
Okay.
with a good leg.
Okay.
Any more discussion? All in favor then to purchase the, now this doesn't come with the picnic shelter, I mean, the picnic tables. It
Nope.
just is the building and the concrete floor and,
This is just a building. We're doing it piecemeal.
so we got to do the concrete floor too. And then we buy
Wait a minute.
The last shelter cost us $74,000.
What?
By doing it ourselves, we'll spend about 50.
Have you
say
priced
ourselves, we're
these
gonna put it up?
things?
Well, no, we've got the same
I
people that
did.
built the last one. We'll hire him. $3,500, he'll put it up.
So is
We'll
that
be-
included in that?
We'll be back to council with the
Wait.
additional cost.
Did you, Wick built the last one, didn't he?
No.
No,
Somebody built it.
Elsie,
And how much did he charge us?
$71,000, what?
Yeah.
18,000 was just his fee,
Right.
not the cost.
The kit was 20?
So we're gonna pay
All right, so we're paying
$20,000.
$20,000 for some lumber, and then we still got to spend another $20,000 to put it up.
And the slab and the electrical.
And the slab
lights
costs
and
20 grand.
stands and, correct.
So how much is picnic shelter going to cost us, guys?
By the time we're done, about $52,000.
I think we need to wait until we find a sponsor, or at least investigate trying to find a sponsor. I mean, we don't need it tomorrow.
We had $100,000 in the budget.
I mean, do we need it tomorrow, or do we? Is anybody crying for a picnic
The
shelter?
park has become very popular,
Very popular.
so you're denying
Well, if we
people
put up
the use of the
another
park.
playground and another shelter, we're gonna need more parking? Or are we gonna be able to live with the parking we got? I don't know.
We ain't maxed out the park we got right now, so I mean, that's what I'm saying. If we got somebody putting up the children's playground, can we get a package deal and say, hey, while you're working on that, work on this too?
You got two different type vendors
Yeah.
that are doing things as far as liability issues with the park, with the picnic area, and especially the children's playground equipment.
And this is not something you can plan, because I had no idea this place was going to be packed every day. And I'm delighted, but I had no idea.
Well, we were told by the landscape architect that it would be used, and that's why he planned to put one there. And we backed off of that to see, and that's why it's in the budget.
Everybody said it was a waste of money. Our critics did. But I don't think it was. Anything that is that used is good use of public money. Okay, that's my 2 cents. I'll shut up.
Well, and I agree it's a good use of our town funds, but I'd like to see if we can get participation from the community in the source.
And I think we can do that. We didn't have the sponsorship for the amphitheater was not done before it was erected.
No, it wasn't.
It was up.
after.
Okay, and I'm cool with that, but I'm
Yeah.
saying let's investigate just the way vigorously like we did that amphitheater. Let's investigate vigorously finding a sponsor for this picnic shelter, because this is not the total cost. $20,000 is not the total cost.
No.
It's going to be significantly higher than that. You know. So don't get misled, folks, thinking that $20,000 is going to get you another picnic shelter. It's not. $20,000 can buy you some wood. Now we got to spend another $30,000 to get concrete slab and electrical work and everything else that needs to be done. So it really, to put up a picnic shelter, obviously about
A little
$50,000.
bit.
We could have used the same contractor and spent $74,000 again. I'm trying to save $20,000.
I understand.
Well, I like the picnic shelter. I would probably eagerly vote for it if it was next year, just after plenty of time to see and all that. But, I mean, it is in the budget, whatever, and then it is less than the last one. But,
And there is a need.
yeah, but there's probably going to be a need for 3, 4, 5 of them. Just
Well,
to-
I was at Town Hall Wednesday, Monday, and a lady called in and complained because she was eating lunch at the picnic shelter and somebody who had reserved it kicked her out.
Well, that's why I think we need some picnic, and I think we got them on here,
We have
to put them in the woods scattered about. So
in the chairs.
Yeah. That's
somebody can
what we
come
ought to
over there on a,
Yeah.
if it's just a small couple, they can, or a small family, they can use those instead of a shelter. Which I like that idea.
All right, I do too. Good idea.
Anyway, any more discussion, questions? All in favor then of the approval to purchase the picnic shelter kit from Inwood Structures in the amount of $20,912, do so with show of hands. And opposed?
Lord, Barry, and I
Two of you voted.
We're on the roll now.
Barry and Hardy voted against it. You get that, Kim?
We're on the roll.
Right.
We're big friends before it's all over. Next item is approval of intergovernmental agreement with Lexington County Sheriff's Department and the town staff. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved. Or second. It's a matter of bookkeeping, just a formality. We help them, they help us.
And this is the same thing we do basically every year. And I think it said we had to do it because they got a new sheriff.
The new sheriff, that's the reason we're doing this one, because the last one was signed by James Metz.
Okay, and after they have their election, then
Then we probably have to do it again.
We have to do it again.
Okay.
But we do need these people, so.
Chief, this intergovernmental agreement, that's between Lexington County and Irmo, right? We got one between Richland County and Irmo also, right?
And Chapin and Irmo.
City of Columbia.
City of Columbia and Irmo.
In Irmo, don't we?
Yep.
I remember, that's the last one.
They have a likewise with us. Same way it's reciprocal.
And the fire department. Don't mutual aid? No? I could have sworn we did it.
We have a contract with them. All in favor of the approval of the intergovernmental agreement with Lexington County Sheriff's Department and the town of Irmo, do so with show of hands. And next item is the approval to change annexation method for Lexington Richland School District 5 from the 75-25% petition to the 100% petition. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second? No second. Motion will fail for lack of second. Next item is first reading of ordinance 1411 to annex Lexington tax map 2797-0207, 2797-0301, and 2797-0304, which is Irmo High School, Irmo Middle School, and Crossroads Middle School. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Is there a second? Seeing none,
Anybody wants to second the motion to annex these schools in? Great.
Not till after we have a meeting
We can have a meeting now.
with the school board.
Oh, we got a meeting with school board? Well, why do you know that?
no second, the motion will fail for lack of second.
Next week.
Next item is F, approval to schedule a town hall meeting to discuss policing, is that policing or policing? Policing. Policing in town of Irmo. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second. I'll tell you why.
Okay, I'm going to second it
Good.
because of that lady.
Okay.
And she left. She's not going to know that we're going to listen to her. Her.
All right, go ahead.
But
You gotta-
I got a thing here. I don't think we have the problems that other people do.
What does that mean?
I think our police do as good a job as you're going to get anywhere in the country. And I think they do a very good job. And I don't know of any infractions or...
No, I'm not saying that we have any infractions. I'm just saying that when, I'd like to schedule a town hall meeting to discuss to our constituents the correct way to respond when you get pulled over by a blue light. You know, what to do and what not to do.
But we're going to invite the police to this, right?
Absolutely. And I want to invite Lexington County and Richland County to
No
it.
reason to get overboard here.
Whoever wants to come. I mean, the whole reason for this thing is we've had situations in this country where, you know, and it seems to be a growing distrust between the general John Q. public and law enforcement. Yeah, we don't have that problem in Irmo,
No, we don't.
and I want to make sure we don't have that problem in Irmo. That when, you know, an officer pulls somebody over for a seatbelt violation or speeding or something like that, that we don't freak out and the constituent doesn't get over scared, if you will,
Well, that's a good idea.
and not know what they have the right to do, what they have not, what they can't do. One of the things that I noticed that's happening in this country is that, and I say in the country because I'm looking at all the Twitter feeds and all the Facebook feeds I'm getting, and even tonight in Chicago, they had a situation where a lady was pulled over for a minor traffic violation, and it escalated to the point where the police broke the windows in the car to get them to get out the car. With the technology we have now, with these iPads and cell phone videos and all that stuff, something like this could easily get out of hand because somebody gets pulled over, starts videotaping the police officer's action, not knowing exactly what they have the right to say and what the right to do. And if the officer asks them to, hey, let me see your license, get out the car, let me frisk you or let me search your car for drugs or whatever, what is the correct response? I want to make sure that our 13,000 residents know what the proper thing to do, what the proper thing to say.
So this is education.
This is very educational, and it's so that we can try to avoid and be more proactive than reactive to a situation that may or may not come up. Now, y'all may not agree with the fact that, Irmo is a quaint little suburb of Columbia, and we're not going to have that issue. But if that issue does come about, I want to make sure that the folks have been, at least had an opportunity to know that if they make a complaint against our police officers or they make a complaint about our sanitation pickup or they make a complaint that, our beautification is not being done right or whatever, that doesn't fall on deaf ears, that, somebody doesn't say, jump in the lake at town hall or whatever that comment was that Mr. Dan said, we want to make sure that they know that does not happen, that will not be stood for, and that when you do make a complaint, that these complaints are handled effectively and truthfully. It doesn't fall on deaf ears, that we do follow up with it, and what the correct procedure is to go about getting this resolution to a problem that you may or may not have. And again, this is an informational session I would like to have for the community in the near future, not in the far distance.
Okay.
I believe that the people already know, otherwise we would have had a problem. So,
well, yeah, say that to the guy that got shot at the Shell station.
Let me say it again, we haven't had a problem in the town of Irmo.
Well, say that to the person who gets pulled over by the police for seatbelt violation.
Sure, but a town...
All the polarization is going on in this country right now. We want to make sure that our citizens know what is expected of them, and we know what is expected of us.
So you're going to reach 13,000 people during the meeting?
Well, I'm going to invite them all. If they all fit this room, yeah. If they all don't show up, they'll at least be able to hear about it through our video system or look at it and at least have a frank, open discussion, so that we can become proactive, not reactive to a situation that may or may not happen. I pray that it never ever happens in town or Irmo. But I like to take the lead and say, hey, we're going to have a frank discussion now while there is no situation going on, so that the folks know exactly the proper steps to take when they get pulled over, if they get pulled over, exactly when they make a complaint to Bob Brown in Town Hall, that these complaints are handled, truthfully and effectively. And then at the same time, if that resolution doesn't go to their satisfaction, who they can go to the next level to get some more satisfaction. A lot of people, I don't think that everybody in the town knows how to do that. All they know is they can call WIS and make a complaint, and then next thing you know, it's a big media circus because of something that we could have handled within our town.
The only thing I can think that it might be effective on is code enforcement. If people know that we really are writing tickets and that it really takes a long time for that to be implemented, and it really does. they might understand more. And I think everybody's doing their job, but nothing can be done overnight. It takes weeks. And in the end, it's all for good, but I don't think people understand that.
All right, but you're talking about a meeting. We think everything's going to be solved in a meeting.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, and
You see one turn out here, so...
Well, that could be explained.
Okay.
Are we talking about code enforcement? Are we talking about policing? Are we talking about who's going to do the teaching? I mean,
I think that's
I don't know who's going
two
to do the
different
teaching.
things.
Yeah.
I have some fears on the policing side. I know that the town of Irmo is an accredited agency. Many years go into that accreditation. What I fear would be that the public would come in with an expectation of saying, I don't like the way you do something and I want it changed. And we can't do that. The police chief has to respond based on the criteria that's set down in your regulations as far as accreditation. Am I correct, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Whether I like it, whether it's a national accreditation. And to create a false sense that a policy could be just changed because somebody feels like it's offensive to them or hurts their feelings or whatever reason. It's not that simple to do on the policing side. The code enforcement side, we have a lot of latitude here. But, you know, we see all the stuff on TV so much with some of the latest ones that's happened. And really, the people that were causing the problem weren't even from that area. They came in from somewhere else. Those that got arrested when they started booking them, they found out they were from many states away. That's what I don't want to see happen.
Well, you're saying we want to change policy. I'm not saying change policy. I'm saying make sure that folks understand what the proper procedure is if they get pulled over. You know what you don't want to confront. You don't want to have a confrontation on the side of the road with a cop because you'll lose. You know, I don't want anybody to jump out the car and start ranting at the police officer because you might get shot. Okay, and if that happens, I want to make sure that we understand that when you get pulled over, it's not because, you know, you're being singled out or what do you call it? Profile. Thank you very much. That's the word I'm looking at. You're not being profiled. You have a violation, and the violation can be simple as your tail light might be out, or your headlight might be out, or your seatbelt wasn't fastened. You know, I don't want that to escalate into, well, why are you stopping me? Because I'm black, or because I'm green, or because you decided to stop me?
I think that's part of what you're going to get, is somebody will say, well, I don't like that policy, I have rights, and he doesn't have the right to know my name when he does.
Well, that's fine, but do they have to give you, do you have to surrender? Does the person that's not driving the automobile, they have the right, they have to surrender their ID and stuff to the passenger? Is that true, Chief?
What's policy?
Is that policy? Is that part of the policy? I don't know.
I think the road that, there's a couple different solutions to the road that you're looking to ride down. I know that all the officers at our department, myself included, are very accessible. Anybody who has any questions, I probably spend 9 hours a day sitting in my office, free to answer telephone, free to meet with people who walk in. I clear my schedule when somebody shows up, and I'm more than welcome to answer those questions. And I think all the officers that work for y'all are of the same mentality. All you have to do is ask them when they're out in the community all the time. And if somebody wants to call me and ask, what do I do if I'm stopped by the police? I've answered that question countless times over my 23 years as a police officer. Every police officer will be happy to answer those questions. I put it out, we did a talking head bit for WACH television not long ago because it came on the heels of police impersonators. And so we answer those same questions. What do I do when I'm pulled over? So I'm more than happy to answer those questions. I understand council's concern that if we call this meeting and start down the path of, well, I don't like being stopped by the police, what can I do to not get stopped? Well, that's a very difficult road to navigate.
But we're not telling folks we don't want you to not like our policy. We're telling you that if you should get stopped, the correct procedure is to basically talk to the police officer, roll down your windows. If you're driving, give me your driver's license. Now, if you're a passenger in that car, does that passenger have to surrender his ID also?
The quick answer is it depends.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's the kind of question that I like to get in a form and find out so that everybody knows the answer, that quick answer.
Yeah, the quick answer is it depends. There are lots of things in police-citizen contacts that depend on circumstances.
Right.
Is the contact because it's a traffic violation? Is the contact because it's a probable cause stop? Is it a reasonable suspicion stop?
Right.
Is it a Terry stop? And the possible combinations of facts are so infinite that to try to answer the question of, well, I'm in a car and I got stopped and the police officer demanded to see my license and I wasn't driving, would take, that one question could take hours. I'm sure law school spends all kinds of time just on those particular fact scenarios. And to try to hold a meeting where we have 10 people, 15 people, 40 people in this room and answer all 40 of those people's individual circumstantial changes about why they got stopped would take an impossible amount of time. And I tell you all that to say, I am more than willing to talk to every one of those 40 people. Have them call me, email me, text me, come to my office, show up at Mr. Brown's office. I'll be happy to show up and answer their questions. It's easier to do it that way than it is to call a long town hall meeting to discuss about, I don't like the way that I was talked to, or I'm not sure I like the police being able to write me a citation for having tall grass, or I don't like traffic law enforcement, or I should be allowed to paint my house whatever color I want to and put up a fence that's 18 feet tall.
That's fine. And if you do that in a town hall meeting setting and say, okay, if you don't like that particular whatever, your recourse is to tell Mr. Brown, email Mr. Brown and say, I don't like the way that officer has cited me on this, and to know that information will go to Mr. Brown and he will follow up with you or whoever, and it doesn't go on deaf ears,
And there are lots of people who take advantage of that very procedure we have right now.
I'm saying I want to make sure that the 13,000 residents know that that's possible.
Can I make a suggestion to you? Brian may shoot me for this recommendation. If the idea is we're going to hold a town hall meeting so that everybody in town knows how to react when the police stops you, there's 13,000 people in town. You'll never get them all in this building.
Of course not. I'm just saying.
So if we did one of several things, it would be maybe a good alternative. Because to have such a meeting is fraught with mischief. It just has the potential to get way out of hand with people coming in, bashing the police about every little incident. There would be two options that would take some work for the chief, and that's why he might get mad at me, but it might be good. If we had a series of articles, one from the chief of police, one from the fire chief, one from the code enforcement officer, one from the town administrator, where we basically say, we write an article and we ask the Irmo News to publish it over a period of 4, 5, 6 weeks on the articles that we're talking about. One is, what do you do in case of a traffic stop? Number 2, what do you do if you have a code enforcement problem? Number 3, Herbie Kirby's will spontaneously combust. Don't keep them in your garage. Number 4, what happens if you have a drainage problem or this? And we basically put it in the newspaper as a written article. You might say, okay, that's a great idea. and it costs $0, assuming that the news would run it, which I think they would. The other option would be, if you want to get fancy, you could theoretically create a production on disc where you, hi, I'm Ryan Buck, I'm your chief of police, my telephone number is this, you have an emergency this, we're open during these times, after hours call this, and here's what we want to tell you. Then you basically have the code enforcement officer come on. And you could have Bob come on and basically do a 30 or 40 or 50-minute production. You could deliver a copy of the disc to every resident in town. And you could put it on you could put it on YouTube, and you could put it on the television show if you wanted to create one.
Put it on the website.
The website, yeah. The website, the television show.
Channel 2, yeah.
Channel 2, and you could actually deliver an actual disc. All you got to plug it in your computer. You know, here's a letter. This is from the town of Irmo.
Okay, great. So that way no citizen has a chance to actually respond to you or ask you any questions. That's exactly what I don't want to do. I want to have the citizens give me the opportunity to voice what they're asking, what they're saying.
You could have Bob in his presentation if you have concerns about what's on here. Call the chief of police. Come to the town hall. This is how you voice your concerns. Write us a letter. Send us an email. Come to the town hall meeting. Call the chief of police. He's available anytime to answer your concerns. This is how you basically voice your concerns to us. I mean, any of those options or a combination might be a compromise, because you're never going to reach everybody just by putting them all, 100 people in this room to basically. I'm not even sure. What do we do? Do we start off with a presentation by Bob or a presentation by Brian, educated, informational, and then just let them come up to the podium and just start asking questions, and it disintegrates into just a free-for-all discussion?
No, we can actually put the format together as we go along with this thing. I mean, I'm saying at least have it available where the citizens who are concerned or who are interested in finding out more detail can come to a forum like this and say, here, let the chief make a presentation, this is what happens when you pull over, and then they can ask a legitimate question or have a discourse. Not something where you can not only put it on disc and have it archived and say, okay, here's a video you can watch and this is responses you can follow, but have it so that humans can ask. I don't know all the questions that everybody might ask. I'm just saying that have the forum available where if they're concerned with they can talk about it. That's all. That's all I want to do. Now, if you don't think it's a good idea, then maybe, you know, maybe it may open up some avenues of discussion that we may need to have in front of a problem. You know, I don't know. If it does, I think that's a good thing, as opposed to having this discussion after we've had a problem. You know, and then we're trying to do damage control.
Yeah, the call is not out.
I understand, but I'm saying that is my thought process behind putting together this meeting. But again, if y'all are against it, you know, that's fine. Just say, hey, we're against doing that, and then, you know, we'll run by the seat of our pants.
Any more discussion? I personally like the idea Dick had about the letters. I don't know if Chief Buck wants to write one, but to me that's a good
We could
thing.
start that way.
And I think the
And then if that
two is
wasn't
good too,
enough-
but I don't know how difficult all that stuff would be. It might be a little bit more.
We also give the chamber a stipend to publicize things for us in their brochure. I think that would also be another good place to expand upon. They kind of cover some of those issues, but more just who do you call when you have a garbage issue? Who do you call when you have this issue? And here's the town's policy on this, that, and the other. And they hand those things out. I think maybe more detail in that would be a good place to start.
Google's pretty good too.
Yeah.
Google.
Google, yeah.
Any more discussion? All in favor then of approval to schedule a town hall meeting to discuss policing in the town of Irmo, do so with show of hands. All opposed?
I am decided.
You got to vote on it. Can tell me yes or no.
Okay, I vote with Darren.
Okay, 3.
The next 1, 2, 3, 4
Oh, yeah.
item.
We have 4 of them.
Yeah, 4. We have some resolutions to thank people for the children's garden, and there's actually 4. We've had 3 on the agenda, but there's one more, so we're going to go ahead and do it with the 4. And I guess we'll ask for an approval first, and we can just do them all at one time. And then Kathy's going to read them and kind of go over which one's for who. But is there approval for resolution 1403, 1404, 1405, and I think 1406?
Thanks. So moved.
And second?
A second Hardy.
Okay. So you want to kind of go over that?
Yes. This all came about because sometimes we forget to thank people who do an awful lot for us. And we've forgotten to thank some people in the past, and we're trying to catch up with that. A resolution signed by all of us is probably the most effective way to say thank you. But some of the work that's been done in the park and by the people that are on this agenda is just outstanding, and they deserve our gratitude and the gratitude of the town. The first one is to Hurricane Construction for constructing that darling little playhouse in the children's garden. I think it's precious. And they have a resolution. The second one is the Arbor Day Committee for the garden, the children's garden. I mean, it's beautiful. And all the plants are low to the ground, so which I think is very cool for children. The third is Seven Oaks Plant Shop, Doug Hull, and Lexington Shades of Green and Jan Hull for their donations to the children's park. And if you've seen the plants there, they're just beautiful. And I think we certainly need to thank them. The fourth is to Glenn Davis. And what did he give us? What did he?
Birdhouses.
The birdhouses, yes. So, it's a very nice thing. I'm going to read one, and the one that came open was to the Arbor Day Committee. And we say that the Arbor Day Committee has provided long-term public service in its efforts to beautify our town. And whereas the Arbor Day Committee helped to plan and coordinate the construction of the children's garden in the community park of Irmo, therefore be it resolved that the town of Irmo does officially by this resolution extend its appreciation to the Irmo Arbor Day Committee for their contribution to the children's garden in our park. And this is adopted the 7th day of October today. And we do thank you. And we thank all of these people because we can't do everything. We have to depend on other people to help us. And we do. So we thank you.
I don't see, I got 3.
There's a fourth.
Yeah, I think they just made up the 4th one today or something.
Kevin, can I ask something?
And go ahead and sign that and then pass it down and move on.
Yeah.
It's all signed.
Would it be possible to ask those people to come to the next council meeting and have them presented with these things?
Yeah, we could do that.
Picture of the newspaper. And certainly, they would like that.
Okay. Is that okay? All right. And in the meantime, we can all sign it, which would be good. We really do appreciate it.
You got the original?
Yeah, I got the original.
Where they had it. Great minds.
While she's starting to sign, we'll go ahead to the next item you want to, or? The next one is item J, approval to purchase additional swing sets for the community park of Irmo for the playground, from the playgrounds of Carolina, in the amount of $20,623.27. Is there a motion for approval?
So move.
And a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Is this the budgeted item? Just,
It is.
Yes,
Okay,
it's a
thank you.
budget item. And it's just, adding more, if we're looking at expanding the children's playground area, one of the big areas over there that you almost have to take a number, and I'm there with my grandchildren a couple, 3 times a week at least, but the swings, there's only
swings, yeah.
2 adult swings and 1 infant swing, and there needs to be more swings, just like there needs to be more playground equipment, as we've all agreed upon. And I know we've already looked at, and it's been mentioned tonight, the picnic tables that are mounted out and around. You almost have to take a number to have a place to sit, the parents and grandparents sit while the children play. So there's going to be more of that needed as well, and I think that's in the plans. But I had asked that as we do this specifically to add some more swings, and I know that we've had some sponsorship of that after the fact. We have it posted on the swings, that Lowe's was a big player in that. And
that we wouldn't have noted if it hadn't been for Ms. Buck.
that is exactly right. And
So we got somebody to sponsor that one, huh?
Ms. Black did, yes.
Oh, my goodness. How much did they sponsor it?
$20,000, wasn't it?
$20,000?
$18,000.
We're actually getting.
Just so remarkable. This is amazing what you can do when you ask for it, huh?
That's right.
Here, oh, go ahead.
So that was the only thing I wanted to say, that I felt like it was justified.
And I'm reading the one, if I'm on the right one,
There's 2.
And
the playground there.
don't get me wrong,
Yes,
we do things that we have in the budget, but we also do things that we don't have in the budget when we feel the need for it.
When there's a need.
A prime example of that is the 59 cameras that we have in the park.
That's
Just
right.
one?
Nowhere near in the budget, but just know that we're watching.
What's the 18?
You might see some of them, but they all see you.
That's what cost all the money.
So what's this swing post? Is that? Just
Oh,
what
it
they
would
break
help
down
to
with
behave in the
4
park.
swing sets.
That's 4 actual swings. Yes.
So 4 swings, and then each swing has, what, 3 or 4, I guess, seats on them, whatever you call it?
No, 4 swings.
One big
So
ring
it's
with
one
4
swing with
seats.
4 seats.
4
Okay.
seats.
No water coming down.
Can I fit in one of those things?
Would you fit? Hmm?
So what
I do.
swing set cost?
The rubber base, all the money here, if you look at the big cost, is the rubber base down here at the bottom where it talks about labor and everything.
Right.
Oh,
The installation is 16, I can't remember.
Okay, let's approve this.
$60,000, that's that rubber base.
yeah, my wife told me today she likes swing sets. I had to vote for it.
That's what the base is.
My wife told me today she likes swing sets. I don't know if she can swing or not, but I'm
Okay,
like,
well,
what?
why don't we vote?
So we ready?
Yeah.
Well, you gotta go home and watch.
No,
NCIS.
I've missed everything, it's fine.
So all in favor of the swing set to Playgrounds of the Carolina in the amount of $20,623.27. Do so with show of hands. And a vote for that because she likes swing sets, she said. Anyway, next item is approval to purchase additional benches, picnic tables, trash receptacles for the park in the amount of $5,897.63 to Vitter Recreation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Is this the base?
No, this is all the extras, the extra
Okay.
picnic tables and like 6
Okay, got
extra
it.
benches, a couple of them going over at the children's garden.
Now, but these picnic tables aren't going in the shelter, these are going in the park.
That's correct. These are all
Just like
cemented.
around the playground.
How many is it here? I think I saw 6 benches and I lost
3 tables and a couple other things.
So 3 trash cans.
We'll be back to buy the tables for the picnic shelter after it's built.
There's two round tables. Is that right? Yeah. And 6.
Trash can costs $316?
Exact same one.
Gold-plated trash cans?
That's without the lid.
Come on, guys.
115 for the lid and 57 for the thing, but they'll last
What
forever.
kind of trash cans are we buying for $316?
The exact same ones that we've already got in the park.
What are
kinda-
the exact same ones we got in the park?
These are exactly what we've got, so everything matches.
That mesh wire looking stuff that's
Yes.
vinyl coated or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The forest green, vinyl coated. Same vendor that we bought the last one from, same price.
Keep people from stealing trash cans.
Stealing trash cans.
Somebody might want one.
You can't find a cheaper trash can than $316? Lowe's doesn't have a deal on trash cans?
Okay, call the question on the trash cans, please.
All right, all in favor then of the approval for the benches, picnic tables, and trash cans
Do you
for
line item deal?
$5,897.63. Do so with show of hands.
You got a line item deal?
Raise your hand.
No, I'm not raising.
So all opposed?
All opposed, yours truly. $316.
Next item, presentation by a citizen. This is where anyone who wants to address council
Those to Paul
on
Evans.
anything, regardless if it's on the agenda or not, may do so at this time. Anyone who would like to address council? Looks like one. We got our
Maybe I can stand up tonight, but this is Jake Moore. Two things I would like to ask you to do at your next meeting. I would like you to consider the possibility of passing a resolution thanking Lowe's. And I would like you to consider a resolution thanking Houston Midlands Beautiful, not only for securing the grant, but for the electronic recycling they have done, Jacket, and for the cleaning up while on the Everest truck. I actually saw Jack Buck picking up cigarette butts following the Everest truck, which is pretty amazing, along with several members of the marketing committee. The other thing I would like to tell you, you may not know this, but we did our golf tournament the Friday of the Everest truck, and we raised $45,000 again this year. The good news beyond that is the project for this year is the hill behind Irmo, which is so disgusting. The contracts have already been let out for bid to basically fix that. And that's going to be a joint effort between the school district and the Arbor Day committee. We are hoping to have most, if not all, of that really done this year. And we are hoping to start work on that in November with. And the plans that I have seen, it ought to go for something a little under something at least acceptable. So just want to let y'all know that. And again, thank everybody for the help on the golf tournament.
Maybe we could put that on the agenda next time, the 2 more resolutions.
Correct, I got it.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
And
Jack, that would keep
Make sure
moving
they're
beautiful.
here, too.
For the Okra strut, we will, with partnered with Sunoco Recycling, recycled 480 pounds of cardboard and aluminum. So I do want to let you know with having the concerts in the park coming up, you want to consider having, the recycling bins out there. You can loan them from Keep the Midlands Beautiful. You do have recycling bins in the park, but you did just pass to purchase more trash containers, but not recycle containers for the park. So at Keep the Midlands Beautiful, we do encourage you to twin the bin, which means for every trash container you do have, we encourage you to have a recycle container as well. So you're encouraging folks to recycle as well as throw away their trash. At the event coming up November 15th, which Mr. Brown did let you know, Richland Recycling has come on board with us for the day. We do partner with Lexington County and Richland County, but they came on board and said we'd like to help out for this day so that folks from Richland or Lexington County will be able to recycle tires that day. So each resident will be able to bring out 8 tires. So Councilman Walker, you'll be able to bring out your tires from the garage if you have any. And also scrap metals. We'll have a couple of containers there that CMC Recycling is going to take as well. So that's going to be an extra bonus for us that day, November 15th from 9 to 12. Yes, sir.
on the scrap metal, what kind of stuff? can you throw in scrap metal?
Metal, so that would be
Like
washers, dryers.
oh, okay, so I can bring
Anything like
any of
that,
that
they'll
stuff.
take up anything. They'll even take your Christmas lights, if you want to put your Christmas lights up early. We're not allowed to do that before Thanksgiving in our household, but if you are allowed in any other household, you can put out scrap metal, stoves, washers, dryers, bicycles, metals, door frames. Got a big list here, metal chairs, metal, and I've given the list to Miss Stanley, so she'll have that to put out.
What about, I've got a,
Refrigerators, yes.
no,
Air conditioners will be.
the big old, my mind went, the glass door you put it in front of the house, the storm door.
Storm door,
We
yes.
changed one out, but it's got glass in it, but it's metal too. What do I do with that?
Bring it and we'll take it.
Okay.
But nothing with, everything must be gas or oil free. So that's we're not taking hazardous materials, so we're not taking anything with lacquer or paint.
Okay, got it.
Any other questions for me?
The recycled frames that I saw you using during Orchestra with the clear plastic
Strings,
bags,
yes, sir.
will those be available for like the concerts in the park? And
Yes, sir. Those are available for any event that any citizen would like to use. We have them at Keep the Midlands Beautiful. We have trash and recycling clear streams, so anybody, whether it be a festival or whether you're having a family reunion, you just call us up and Keep the Midlands Beautiful. You can reserve them, whether it's 5 or we have triathlons, or for the orchestra. We did the Greek Festival where we recycled 3 tons of recycling material. So you can get as many, as I said, 5, 60. We did the Kenny Chesney Festival where we had them all outside the Williams-Brice Stadium. But they're of no charge. We're just trying to get people to recycle. And also put December 12th on your calendar right now, because I know you'll be wanting to come out for the 25th anniversary Keep the Midlands Beautiful Gala to shake your tail feathers and have a wonderful time with us.
It's after my anniversary. so
Yes, it is.
I appreciate it.
Especially for you, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
Oh, my mind. I had something I was going to ask you. Oh, if we do the resolution next meeting for y'all and Lowe's, can y'all be here too, so we can
Yes,
present that at all
I'll
at the
talk to
same
the
time?
manager. Tomorrow, if you'd like to come out between 12 and 2:30, Mr. Klein has got some trees, and the Lowe's pros are going to be helping clear the area that the playground set is going to be going, and taking some wonderful photos of them at work with Mr. Klein leading the way for us. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm Dan Coates on 500 Kingsbury Road. I'd just like to make 3 or 4 comments about some of the issues that's been discussed here tonight. On the trash containers, the Herbie-Kirby's, I know it's a problem about when you put it out and when you remove it from the curb, but I think you need to know that there are some residents here in the town that never, ever remove their containers from the roadway or the curb line. They leave them there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So that is a problem that needs to be looked at. I just want you to know that is one of the problems with the Herbie-Kirby's. I would mention to you about the orchestra. I was kind of shocked and surprised that where I live, here in the Coker subdivision, the Friday evening of the orchestra, we had our patio door open. It was a beautiful evening. We had the patio door open with the TV on, and we had to close the door and basically shut off the TV because the music was very loud from the orchestra location into the neighborhood there. I would suggest that you maybe think that we're not acceptable to this noise and so forth. But for you people to know that this noise issue is still a problem, I would suggest next year at the orchestra, and I'm not against the orchestra at all, and I'm not against the music, but somebody needs to go through the town at the far distances with this so-called noise meter and see how much noise is in the areas, because it is a problem, it is a concern. I was very surprised and, like I say, shocked to where I live that, you know, we still were disturbed from our peace and quiet there as a result of the loud music. As far as having a town meeting for the people and the police department, as a citizen of the town, I think that procedures as how the police department is going to do its job should be an issue that's discussed and resolved between the members of council and the police chief and the police department. The comment was made, you get 100 people in a room, yes, you're going to get 100 ideas. That won't work. That's what council is here for. That's what the police chief is here for. You should decide with the police chief what the police policies are, how they do their job. It shouldn't be the people decide that. It's you people and the police chief. The other comment I would make in closing, that I would just like to say thank you to Whit Klein and his staff of workers for the tremendous work effort that they put in every day of the week. And the result of their hard work is how the town looks so nice at all times. Thank you, Whit.
You're right.
Green on 142 South Road. Just a couple issues on this town hall meeting. I'm an educator, and some of my students at the junior college level are always concerned about being pulled over and their cars being searched. What I'd be interested in is knowing if there's a way for the representative from the police department to come to talk to classes or to come to talk to homeowners associations to answer certain questions. A little, not so much the town hall meetings, because I could say you could go out on a tangent, but something directly to answer the students' concerns and the homeowners association's concerns, if you can consider some kind of education program. I was also concerned on B and J, where I didn't fully understand your backdoor sponsorship. You build it first and then you get the sponsorship. The way you're presenting the numbers, 20,912, and then in J, 20,623, that's only the tip of the iceberg, you're saying, because then there's also concrete and electrical and all that. You got Lowe's donating money. How come we don't hit every big box store, Home Depot, get their name advertised, Steer, etc.? Before, if we have money in the budget, you're saying $100,000, I feel that doesn't mean that we have to spend it on targeted items that we made up a year ago. We might have to reprioritize, the expenditures. These trash receptacles in K, if we have a recycling program, wouldn't it be common sense for the recycling company to donate those bins to us? I mean, as a tip of tack, they get the recycled goods and we get the receptacles. So, cost savings. I'm just concerned the way the money is so easily spent, and there's a limited amount of it. Bear with me. And I didn't understand on what was going to be the benefit of annexing the high school and crossroads. And I know it went down the tube, so what was the benefit versus what was the why you didn't go along with it. On number, what was that? E. It went down the tubes of annexing the sites. What would have been the benefits?
Well, I mean, there's probably different opinions as to what would be the benefit. Each council member probably has their own. But I think where it stands, and this is just the best, is we're going to be meeting, or some of it's going to be meeting, but we're going to be meeting with the school districts or board members from the school district to discuss the annexation and whether we can bring in the businesses at the same time or not, and all that stuff.
Well, tax consequences, services, responsibilities, and all that.
Those are the reasons, probably some of us
You
didn't
named
vote for it. That's why we didn't vote for it, yeah.
Okay.
We're trying to figure out how to fund that, if possible.
It would be a terrific burden upon our police department now with the number of calls that they have with the county now that we would be picking up, as well as athletic events, that type thing. And just to make the record perfectly clear, Irmo in 2005 eliminated personal property taxes and business property taxes. So when you look at your tax bill, it has something on there for the county, but where it says Irmo is a big zero.
Yeah, but isn't that another way, aren't you getting it on the electric bills and everything else?
Well, you're getting a franchise fee on the electric bill, but you're getting that in the county too.
But the money's being dedicated to Irmo and it's not tax deductible on your, tax returns. But I mean, the tax is a tax, whether it's considered a franchise fee or a tax.
But there's a specific property tax, and Irmo happens to be one of the few municipalities in the state that is in that condition. Our primary funds come from business licenses with businesses, and that's one of the things that we've said. In order to get to the high school, there's a lot of business between us, and not have spot annexation is to be contiguous all the way down. To get some of those businesses, it would create some revenue through business licenses that would let us increase the size of the police department, so that you as a resident now enjoy a 3 to 5 minute response time, and you want to continue doing that. You don't want it to go to 30 minutes because they're having to clear the building because an alarm went off at 10 o'clock at night.
I just want to get clarification. Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who'd like to address council? Seeing none?
One more thing. We have fine Irmo Orchestra t-shirts in Town Hall, $10 a piece. I mean, you just can't beat this. This is a wonderful walking advertisement. I bought 5 myself. So please help us by buying our t-shirts. Okay, I'm finished now.
Next item is executive session. Any needed? None? No?
Nothing I'm aware of.
Anything? Next item is adjournment. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.